script, we're going to do that. So I've got to kind of tap dance you around a little bit.
Okay. How is that going to affect? Are we going? We're going? No, I'm going to do an in-studio intro, so I'll just start with. Good to see you again, Mike.
Good to see you.
Better here than in the studio.
Oh, I'm glad you're out here, and better here than in Boston too. Huh? Right now, I bet it's hot and muggy there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And now the weather's pretty good.
But I love Boston.
Yeah.
That Faneuil Hall Market,
Yes.
they call it. Fabulous place. I love it.
Today's FBI, you must be excited about the challenge of a new series.
Yes, when I finished Mannix, I thought, well, that's about it. I don't think I want to be on a weekly series anymore. Just do 2-hour movies and feature films and all. But it's been about 5 years, and I found that I got itchy. And when I saw this script on today's FBI that David Gerber sent me, I got very excited because I think it was one of the better scripts that I've read in some time. And,
Why?
Well, the characters were real, and it showed the background and the problems of the human being that's an FBI man. It showed the pressures on an FBI man. You know, most of us think about cops, FBI men, or government people as machines, more or less, that have no private life and have no pressures or problems, that they go and they do their work and they strap on their badge or their gun or whatever and do their job. And suddenly you realize there are tremendous pressures in their married life, in their personal life, in their values. In this pilot film, we show a fellow, young, played by Joe Cali, a young guy that goes undercover to infiltrate the hoodlum people on the waterfront. And he suddenly begins, because he's around him so much, and he begins to admire this one very suave, sophisticated fellow that loves his children and his wife. And he suddenly starts to realize that, wait a minute, maybe this isn't all bad. So you've got to keep an eye on him and grab him and yank him out and say, hey, you're beginning to think like a hood. You know, You're not playing games anymore. So there are a lot of pressures, and I think it's a very interesting and well-written script.
Well, there might be some pressures, too, in shooting a series like this, because recently the FBI has been subject to some criticism. We just dealt with the Jean Seberg, that smut campaign allegedly launched against her. And you think perhaps the series might offset some of that criticism?
Well, I don't know. I have always admired the FBI from the time I was a little kid, and they always stood for right. You know, it's very easy to look back after the fact and say they were wrong, they shouldn't have done that. None of us can be right all the time, and if you are going to go out and put your neck on the limb, you're going to make mistakes. I think that any police enforcement agency or FBI or whatever it might be has got to make mistakes. You can't go through life and laying it out there on the line of your life and your neck and trying to protect the country and the people without making mistakes. And it's very easy to look back and say they shouldn't have done that. And yes, maybe they shouldn't have done it, but at the time, maybe it seemed right. We would like to show that that can happen, that you can make an honest mistake, and at the time, looking at it from this angle, it looks right, from this angle, it's wrong. I can't give you any definitive answers right now because of the writer's strike. We're just getting into the scripts now. But we hope to show it all the way it is.
And the fact that this is an organization made up of human beings.
That's
when
right.
You have human beings, you have...
In the old days, the FBI was very, very strict in their dress code, in their hair code, in their what they did. There was no such thing as an undercover man. You dressed like an FBI man and you presented your credentials. Today they do have infiltration into undercover work. And I think it's and the crimes have changed somewhat. There's a lot of white collar and blue collar crimes where the hoodlum has his hand in your pocket and you don't know it. It's been done very surreptitiously. Abscam, Watergate, the spy thing with the Hughes aircraft that just came out in the paper the other day where they're selling information. So I think it's going to be a very exciting, interesting, suspenseful, there's going to be action in it, and I think it's going to be an exciting series.
Something we didn't get to talk about when you were in the studio, and that's your long marriage, a long, happy career with, as far as family's concerned. There were some lean years for Mike Connors, weren't there? Some struggling times.
Oh, I'd say that the first 10 years of our marriage was a very tough time, and many times I thought I ought to throw this over and get a job and bring home some money. Luckily, I had an understanding wife. She worked a number of years while I was going to school and studying and trying to be an actor. I was going to law school nights, 3 nights a week, because I wasn't sure I was going to make a living as an actor. And but through it all, we maintained our sense of humor and fun and laughs, and it worked out very well.
You live by, at least I've read, you live by this theory that you will take the strongest challenge and then fight hard to attain it.
Yes, I think, you know, the greatest excitement in life I have found at this stage of my life is not what you finally achieve, but the fight and the struggle to go after a goal. And when you get to that goal, you've got to set up another goal so that you constantly feel like you're going after something. To sit back and say, I got it all, is a terrible thing. And I just think that you've got to get up and say, I'm going after something new. I was telling somebody earlier today that I wake up in the morning and I still feel like I'm a neophyte in the business, that I'm struggling to do something. And I suddenly said, wait a minute, I've been earning a living in this business for close to 30 years. I'm an old timer. But I still wake up with the enthusiasm of a guy that's out to set his mark. And I think in anything you do in life today, you've got to get out and say, I got a new challenge to go to today, to give you that excitement of accomplishing something.
Have you been able to transfer that to your kids? Do they also have that kind of philosophy?
No, not as much as I'd like to have, because, you know, we make mistakes. I grew up not having a lot and had to work for everything. And you say, well, I'd like them to enjoy the summer up at the lake or a vacation and so forth. And we tend to give them a little too much, which kills that competitive and creative. They say, hey, this is pretty good. What do I want?
Some people call that the theory of entitlement. Kids
Yeah.
feeling they're entitled to everything.
So it's a tough battle, and I don't think that they've got the drive that I would like to see them have, but they're still, you know, in their formative years, so maybe they'll get it along the way.
That's great, Mike. Lots of luck with today's
thank
FBI. Nice to see you
Good.
again.
And I hope to see you in Boston.
Boston, I hope so
Boston.
too. We'll go shopping at Faneuil Hall
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Okay.
Fabulous place.
Thanks. Mike Connors. We'll be back with more of Good Day right after this. Thank you. Thank you for the extra time. Are you rolling?
How's the video, Bill? How's the video? You're there. It's okay. Okay, we got it.
Now, are you going to, shall I make you?
Yeah, well, we did that.
Tell me about your sex life since coming to California. How do you find the rooms? You're all right? Good. And I understand you were by the swimming pool yesterday.